Can I just say like that Tom Fornelli, I saw it this morning for the first time.
I was late to
The
it too.
rant that he had
Yeah.
on video about how he doesn't, it just Dylan drives him crazy because of his mechanics in the pocket. It's like, who else in college football are you doing that about? Are you analyzing? Like, I get it if a guy is in if it's before the draft and it's February or March of their draft year and you have to break down their mechanics. But when they're a sophomore in college and they play for an unranked team, who else are you shining that light on? Like, are they doing that to Carson Beck, who plays for the number 2 team in the country, or Mayava, or Nico, or DJ Lagway? Like,
I was way late to
why?
Cornelli.
Right. Why are you all over
How
Dylan
Arch
like
Manning
that when
throws
he's
a
completing?
football?
Right. Right. He's way more in the spotlight. Like, I do not get that there is a narrative out there or a national movement to hate on him that much. Are you that bothered by the fact that he mimics and looks like Mahomes? Like, is it all about that? I don't. The level of criticism and just like the things that people are reaching to want to criticize him about is bizarre.
Did you see the second part where he says that he thought Bryce Underwood was doing more pre-snap and better at reading defenses than Dylan Raiola is?
I did not, but like if that's the I saw some other guys. I thought it was like a Michigan podcast of some guys say that wasn't Fornelli, right? I saw some
Fornelli
3 guys sitting together at a table. Was he in that?
He's in the middle. That's the Cover 3 podcast.
Thank you.
That's insane.
It's one of the dumbest things I've ever heard somebody national say. Like, I don't even think I'm exaggerating. It's one of the dumbest things I've heard.
Mitch, it's not like we're going to be out in the street holding hands, but we are so in lockstep. I had no idea.
Come on over. I'm just right up the street.
Oh, God. Okay.
You good? You gonna make it?
I'm fine. This strikes me as very Mitch-esque. Where was I even going? Okay,
Michigan, Cornelli.
I was so late.
I
was so late to that game, and I mean, folks were livid because there was this part of me. I was like, "Well, I'm DB and I'm above it, and I just don't think we should get into the national fray." But then when I started listening to it, I was like, "Oh my God, this is pretty ridiculous! Like, do I even give this any credence?" You know what I mean? Like, so I was kind of like torn. But I'm. It's good to know that you missed the whole thing too.
I missed the Fornelli part. Like I didn't watch the game obviously live on CBS, but I saw the stuff later that CBS did where they like, look at this story that we found. Dylan Raiola and Patrick Mahomes are similar. I mean, we've this has been discussed, guys. And then there's this like whole army of NFL analysts who dabble in college football, mainly with the draft. But if there's big events, then they dip their toe in it, as they should, because those players matter to the NFL. And it seemed that for whatever reason, maybe because it was Michigan on the schedule or because Dylan's numbers are really good, who felt the need to weigh in. And it's a little bit concerning. Like, what's the obsession? Like, why do you care that much? Is my thought.
Yeah, I mean, so the people that don't wade in the college football like I saw like Dan Orlovsky, and then there was a couple of draft analysts. Those guys for the most part.
Well, Orlovsky's got a connection to Dylan.
Right. Yeah, right. But
he's a defender. Yeah.
Yeah, they were more,
because of the Detroit.
Yeah, the Detroit
right.
Right. But I thought the national and the scout people seemed more positive than the people that were waiting, and maybe I missed some of them. But there was a couple. I had a couple tweets sent to me just talking about like, hey, like this. There's not a lot of people in college football playing the position better than what Dylan Raiola is right now. And is there? I mean, I was trying to figure out what the number of.
I'm just telling you, break down advanced stats. He's top 4.
I mean, I know this for a fact. He's the only player in the country with 1,000 yards, 10 touchdown passes, 100 completions, and doing it all at a 75% completion percentage. Like he's the only one, right?
And still just the one turnover.
And I don't want to like make it out to be that he's playing at like this level that, is so through the roof that we've never seen it. Like he could be doing stuff better too. That's kind of the scary part.
That,
if you're a
that's
Nebraska
a
opponent.
testament to him. Yeah, I agree.
That he's that good, and
I agree.
still there's stuff he could be.
I agree.
On.
Not a finished, nowhere near a finished product.
100%. I really struggle with wherever this narrative came from that either he's not that good or whatever. And then I really, and I don't even know if there's a question in here, Mitch, but I really struggle with the portion of the fan base, which was in my mentions on Saturday, talking about, oh, he's struggling with the pressure. Why don't we give Latif a shot? And I go, that is the best player on your team by far. What are we talking about?
Yeah, they're right. But that's like the standard fare. You always get that about the backup quarterback. Anytime like people can find one thing to criticize about the starter, if the backup has played, or even sometimes if he hasn't played and he looked good doing it, then it's going to be on like that conversation. Yeah, I think you have to expect that. I totally went into the game against Michigan knowing that there would be some moment where Dylan wasn't going to look like an All-American, like he was going to get sacked and not be able to get out of the pressure, which certainly happened. And inevitably there would be fans who would say, put TJ in because he looked really good against Akron and Houston Christian in the third and fourth quarter. That's, I think you just have to kind of understand that that's going to happen. And I don't know. I'm not like going to say, let's just completely close the door on any kind of discussion about whether you couldn't use Latif as some kind of an option to bring him in for one play on the goal line. Rhule talked, and I've brought that up, and I'm not saying like have a quarterback controversy, but hey, give the defense a different look in an area where you're struggling on offense, like for one play or two plays or something like that. Like maybe it would be worth it. Maybe it wouldn't. I don't know, but I've mentioned that, and people have said, well, what about, don't waste a red shirt. And it's like, that's so far off the table at this point. Like you just can't concern yourself with that. And Rhule talked about that some on Monday. Like he's not,
the 5 for 5.
Yeah. He's not even thinking about the 4-game red shirts and, unless it's later in the year and then maybe it comes into the equation, but you can hurt yourself with doing that too, because then the players can feel like they're not needed or wanted. And, you open up another can of worms.
Let me get you out on this, Mitch, because this is along those heels, along the lines of kind of what we talked about with Nebraska in the red zone and running the ball and inside the 10. And what do you think the conflict is, or the real conundrum of knowing that you're really good outside the numbers with skill guys? Your best offensive player is probably your quarterback. But, in the long run, in October and November, you'd like to be able to run the football too. What do you think the degree of difficulty is in landing that kumbaya plane for the staff?
It's pretty difficult.
Seems like it.
I probably there. I don't want to rank the areas of difficulty, but the one that comes to mind for me first is finding a back who you rely on other than Emmett Johnson. So Rhule was pretty blunt about that today and the Monday and the task that he assigned his offensive staff. And it's unfortunate that they got to this place.
I love his forthrightness too. That question, the answer was fantastic, and we still picked it apart. I knew exactly what he was saying, right? Like that's between him and staff and the team, and the onus is on the guys that coach it, right?
Yeah.
I want to know as the boss, but I am going to kind of give you the autonomy. Just figure it out before I have to do it for you. I like, and he said, Mitch, hey, you have to be careful as a head coach when you say this.
Yeah.
But he made himself vulnerable and said it anyway. I was like,
and there have been complications for sure with that situation because he held Mekhi Nelson out one game and Quentin Ives was coming back from an injury and Isaiah Mosey had to go play slot.
Learning, right?
Well, and he's had to go pick up the slack from Bonner's injury and play the slot. So there's been a lot of moving parts there and stuff that's going on, but still, as an offensive staff, like they should be farther along in identifying what they're going to do when they know they can't rely on Emmett Johnson for every snap at running back. So they've got to shore that up. And I think that'll be a huge objective here in the bye week going into Michigan State. And then beyond that, I think it's just getting creative, and they have the right guy at OC to be able to do that. Like they're just probably not as a team going to be able to do some of the stuff that you would want to see them do in the run game, like in the power run game. They just aren't like, and you have to like the quicker you can accept that, then I think the more quickly you can move on to being productive. Like Dylan's so accurate with his arm that anything that you throw within 5 yards of the line of scrimmage has just got to be considered internally
he's so
part of the run game. Yeah, right. So
yes,
you have a lot of playmakers on the edge, and some of them in the right moment can bring it inside too and run behind your offensive line. So get weird, get creative, find some ways to attack it. Like they should be able to do that, like because they have the players and they have the coordinator to make it happen. So it might not look like what Nebraska fans and what Matt Rhule envisioned in the offseason, but there's still ways to be effective as a running team, even if it doesn't show in the rushing yardage. Like short passing yardage is just going to have to be a part of that.
I'm stoked because I think the staff is exceptionally bright. Like, so I'm excited because it's so hard. It's like scheme versus talent versus what's the talent within the scheme. I'm getting guys healthy. Like this is the fascinating thing about coaching, man. And I'm pumped because I think they're bright.
Yeah, the rush defense is a more difficult situation, I think, because you can't just start moving. Well, it's not as easy to just start moving pieces around and say, hey, we're going to do it in an unorthodox way. Like they have to be able to just line up and stop the run, and have questions about this team's ability to do that. 7.7 yards per carry. That's the number for the two power conference teams that Nebraska's played this year.
Even one smart guy and Jay Moore arguing with one smart guy and two guys were arguing, right? So even Jay Moore and I were going back and forth on whether to box or spill and how to fit in the run game. So that just let me know there's more than one way that you can skin a cat, and it is full-fledged. The debate is on, right? So not everybody's going to agree. So whatever they decide on, I am fascinated. I'm more do better within the scheme. He's more, why would you? And I think both he and I could talk about this for 5 hours if we wanted to, right? Like that's what makes coaching.
Also learn from last year when you at times had too many cooks in the kitchen. And that's I think an immediate danger sometimes of having a big staff and having a bunch of guys who've been coordinators on your defensive staff. It can be good.
Was this pre-hating on Tony White and then lamenting that we don't have it?
I know you're not.
You know what I'm saying, though.
I've never hated on Tony. Right. But yeah, I think that was out there
yeah.
Right. But there was a difference. There was a difference of philosophy, and Butler even touched on that recently. And that doesn't mean you should hate on Tony White by any stretch. But
I'm talking about the revisionist history after he left.
Yeah.
Now we're back on the Tony White hype train because it doesn't look the way that we wanted it to.
Yeah.
And you didn't agree with that narrative?
I've been absolutely not. Like I've been steady in my support for Tony White and everything that he brought to Nebraska. But between Snow and Butler, and then you have, I'm sure Terry Braden has his ideas about how this should work, and Addison Williams has been a coordinator. Like as long as they're on the same page, and you talk about the difference in philosophies and like what you and Jay think they should do, as long as like those guys, and throw in Dvorak and Phil Simpson, as long as they're in agreement on how it should be done, then they're probably one step ahead of where all of us.
Yeah. That's Mitch Sherman from The Athletic. Mitch, appreciate the time as always.
You've had some doozies. This one's up there.
Good. It was fun.
He low-key just said, come on over. No.
We got a half hour. We have a half hour left.
I got to get out of here anyway. So the invite's off the table.
We got a half hour left on the show. We'll be right over after that, Mitch. We'll see you later.
Thanks.
Bye.